Picture the scene for a second. It's Dublin, December 8th. The year is 2000. And when I say it's a miserable night, I am really underselling it. This isn't just rain. It is biblical.
It's a complete washout.
Yeah, totally. You've got this massive Atlantic storm just hammering the city. Wind gusts are screaming at like 60, maybe 70 miles per hour. The rain is coming in sideways. It's the kind of weather that just tells you to get inside and stay there.
Right. And usually on a Thursday night in December, peak Christmas party season in Dublin, you'd have a lifeline. You'd have taxis absolutely everywhere.
But not on this night.
No, because on this specific night, the city is paralyzed by a massive taxi strike. So the streets are totally desolate. You've got people stranded all over the city, forced to walk home in these torrential conditions because there are simply no wheels to be had.
And walking through that storm, right in the middle of this whiteout, is a 22-year-old guy named Trevor Deely. He's tall, he's an IT worker, and he is heading home alone after his office Christmas party. We actually see him on CCTV, we track his movements, and then he turns a corner and he simply ceases to exist.
It is easily one of the most haunting mysteries in modern European history because we have so much visibility. We see him walking, we see him talking, we see the umbrella he's carrying, and yet for over 2 decades, not a single trace of him has ever been found. No phone, no wallet. It's basically a locked room mystery, but the room is a modern capital city.
Which is wild. So today, our mission for this deep dive is to really try to piece together that minute-by-minute timeline of Trevor's last known movements. We're going to strip away the rumors and just focus on the baffling evidence of a man who vanished into thin air.
Exactly. And we really need to look at the massive update from December 2023 because that completely shattered the leading theory of this entire case.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that. But first, let's unpack our protagonist here, Trevor Deely. By all accounts, he is the definition of a normal guy. He's young, sociable, working for Bank of Ireland Asset Management. Let's just call it BM for short.
BM, right.
He's from Noss in County Kildare, but he's living in the Renoir complex in Ballsbridge. So there's no secret life here. No criminal ties, just a normal 22-year-old.
No, none of that.
Yeah.
But if we are trying to build a bit of a psychological profile, there is one detail from the sources, one outlier from the weeks leading up to this night that just feels a little off.
You're talking about the Alaska trip.
I am, yeah. Just a few weeks before the Christmas party, Trevor flew all the way to Anchorage, Alaska.
Which, I mean, for a young Irish guy to fly to Alaska for a weekend, that is a serious haul. That's not just a casual hop across the pond.
No, it's a massive trip. He went to visit a girl he'd met in Dublin. The sources refer to her as Janie or Karen, but the consensus is that the trip was awkward.
Awkward, like he went uninvited.
It seems so, yeah. Or at least the interest just wasn't reciprocated. He stayed for a few days and then came back. Now, I want to be really clear here. The Gardaí, the Irish police, they investigated this fully. They ruled this out completely as a cause for his disappearance.
Right.
But if we're trying to understand his headspace, it adds a layer of emotional context.
Yeah, it paints a picture of a guy who might have been feeling a bit vulnerable, maybe dealing with some rejection right as the Christmas season is kicking off.
Exactly. It makes him very human. He wasn't just a statistic, He was a young guy figuring life out.
So keep that in mind as we look at the night out. December 7th, the office Christmas party. The route is pretty standard for Dublin. Drinks at Copperface Jack's, then the Hilton Hotel, and finally they end up at Buck Whaley's nightclub on Leeson Street.
Right, and he leaves the club around 3:25 a.m. Because of the storm and the total lack of taxis, he just has to walk.
But he doesn't go straight home. And this is where the timeline gets really crucial. Instead of heading for Ballsbridge, he makes a detour to his office at BM at 3:35 a.m.
And this detour is where things get genuinely chilling. Because this is where we meet the first anomaly. We have to talk about the man in black. Let's call him MIB1.
Okay, so let's set the scene here. This is the CCTV footage at the office gate.
Yes. The footage shows that for about 30 minutes before Trevor arrived, a man dressed in dark clothing had been waiting outside that gate, just standing there in the pouring rain.
At 3:30 in the morning, in a massive storm.
Exactly. Who does that? Who stands outside a random office gate in a gale force storm? He isn't seeking shelter because there really isn't any there. He's just waiting. And when Trevor arrives at 3:35 a.m., they actually have a brief conversation.
That's the part that always gets me. Trevor doesn't run away or seem distressed. He engages with this guy. And then Trevor enters the gate alone.
Well, MIB1 stays outside. He doesn't follow Trevor in, But he doesn't leave either. He just lingers.
So Trevor is inside the office now. And what he does inside is just, it's so mundane, which makes it even more haunting.
It really does, because it completely contradicts any theory of a guy in crisis or someone totally disoriented.
Right, because he chats with a night shift colleague, Carl Pender. Carl notes that Trevor is in really good spirits. He's wet from the rain, obviously, but not heavily drunk.
Yeah, he makes a cup of tea, he checks his emails, and the most striking detail, he leaves physical notes on his desk for the work he has to do the next morning.
He is literally planning his Friday morning workflow.
Exactly. He is planning for a future that is only a few hours away.
So at 4:03 a.m., Trevor leaves the office again, but this time he is carrying something. A large blue and navy umbrella with white ACC bank lettering on it.
Right. He grabs a brolly to save himself from getting soaked.
And MIB1, the guy at the gate.
He's gone. No longer waiting. So Trevor starts his walk home, and 3 minutes later, we get this piece of evidence that lets us hear him one last time.
The voicemail. At 4:06 a.m., Trevor calls his friend Glenn Cullen in Nas. Glenn is asleep, so it goes to voicemail. And the message is just so normal. He says, "Hi, Glenn. I've missed you there. Just on my way home. All going good. I'll talk to you tomorrow."
All going good. The tone is casual. He sounds safe. You can hear the howling wind in the background. But Trevor isn't out of breath or whispering. He's just checking in.
And that is the absolute last time anyone hears his voice.
It is chilling. Because whatever happened to him, it hadn't started yet.
Which brings us to 4:14 a.m., the most analyzed piece of footage in Irish missing persons history, the CCTV at the AIB Bank on Haddington Road.
This is the defining image of the mystery. Trevor is seen walking past the camera, heading toward his home. He's walking with that big umbrella.
But 30 seconds later, a male figure in dark clothing walks past that exact same camera, heading in the exact same direction.
The shadow. The stalker. For over 2 decades, everyone believed this was the guy following Trevor. It looked like a predatory pursuit.
We are going to come back to that footage because that is where the whole case flips on its head. But first, we need to talk about the lost weekend, because nobody actually realized Trevor was missing.
Right, which is just a tragic set of circumstances. It was a Friday morning. When he missed work, his colleagues just assumed he was hungover or taking a cheeky sick day after the party.
His flatmates were away. He had told his family he was staying in Dublin, and he told friends he might go down to Nas. So everybody thought he was safely with someone else.
It wasn't until Monday, December 11th, when he didn't show up for work, that the alarm was finally raised.
And his family, his father Michael, his brother Mark, they mobilize immediately. It's a massive search. But there is one detail from his sister Michelle that is so haunting. She claims she rang his phone over that weekend, and it rang out. It didn't go straight to voicemail.
And that is a huge technical detail. We are talking about mobile phones from the year 2000. If that phone fell into water, and remember, his route went near the Grand Canal and the River Daughter, it would short out instantly.
Right.
If the phone is underwater, the network dumps the call straight to voicemail. If it's ringing out, it means the phone is dry and active on the network.
Which totally casts doubt on the theory that he just slipped in the atrocious weather and fell into the canal. Plus, the sub-aqua team searched the Daughter and the canal and found absolutely nothing.
Exactly. He had the umbrella. He looked steady on the CCTV. A simple fall is possible, but it seems really unlikely.
So if it wasn't the water, what about the other theories, like the Crumlin criminal tip from 2017?
That was a really sinister turn. A new investigation got a tip-off that Trevor was actually murdered by a known criminal from the Crumlin area. The story was that it was a chance encounter that escalated, possibly involving a firearm.
The Gardaí took it seriously, right? They searched a woodland site in Chapelizod.
They did, miles away from where he vanished. And they actually found a gun. But they ruled it entirely unrelated to Trevor. The search ended without finding him. It was a dead end.
Which leads us right back to the CCTV and the massive plot twist, the 2023 revelation.
This completely upended everything. So remember, we have 2 men in black, MIB1 at the office gate, and MIB2 following him on Haddington Road.
And back in 2017, they released enhanced footage saying they were convinced MIB1 and MIB2 were the exact same person.
Right, stalking him from the office. But in December 2023, using modern digital enhancement that they didn't have before, Gardaí finally identified the man on Haddington Road, MIB2.
And the big reveal is he's innocent.
Completely innocent. He was fully interviewed and ruled out. He was literally just a guy walking home in the rain.
Wow.
And furthermore, the Gardaí confirmed that MIB-2 is definitively not the same person as MIB-1.
Meaning the man following Trevor on Haddington Road was just a massive red herring for 23 years. But that means the man waiting in the rain at the office gate MIB-1 who spoke to Trevor and waited 30 minutes in a storm.
He remains completely unidentified.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah.
Who waits outside an office gate at 3:30 a.m. in a gale-force storm, and why has he never come forward?
That is the mystery now. The spotlight is squarely back on him.
So 25 years later, Trevor is still a missing person. The case is open. It's not classified as a murder investigation, but it is deeply feared to be one.
And you really have to acknowledge the human element here. The family's relentless search. His father, Michael Deely, actually passed away without ever knowing the truth.
It's just heartbreaking.
It is. The window of disappearance is so incredibly small. Between 4:10 a.m. on Haddington Road and his apartment, which is just a short walk away, the answer lies in that tiny stretch of road. Or with that unidentified man at the gate who saw Trevor just minutes before he vanished.
You know, before we wrap this up, there's one provocative thought I want you to mull over. We've talked so much about the men in black and the dark storm, but think about what Trevor was carrying when he left that office.
The umbrella.
Exactly. That large blue and navy golf umbrella with bright white ACC bank lettering. In a city completely blacked out by a horrific storm with no street traffic and zero visibility, that umbrella was huge.
Almost like a beacon.
Exactly. What if he wasn't stalked from the office at all? What if that massive, highly visible umbrella simply made him a target for a completely random crime of opportunity? Someone looking out a window or driving past wouldn't have even seen Trevor in the dark, but they would have seen that bright umbrella bobbing down the street. It's something to think about.
That is a deeply unsettling thought.
If you have any information on the man at the gate of BAM on December 8th, 2000, please come forward. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.